Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Black Ice with me, Alpha Pioneer, and Empire of Japan. So in the previous episode we have started the game, episode number 2, and we've gotten ourselves in all kinds of things. We are having a border conflict with Soviet Union near Vladivostok. There is another border conflict between our puppet Eastern Xilingol. Actually, it's not a puppet, it's an Imperial Protectorate. But they're the aggressors and they're losing because they're attacking with only one division. Despite this being an infantry division fighting a bunch of cavalry, they seem to be having trouble with that, and I'm not blaming them. The numbers are probably not in their favor. But I wanted to start this episode by talking a bit about the Navy, because I finally had a bit of time to deal with that. And there was a couple of things that I wanted to point out. So I split the main battle fleet into three navies. First Kantai, Second Kantai, and Third Kantai, meaning the first, second, and third fleet. With the first fleet being our strongest, having two Akagi, two carriers, one Akagi and one Kaga, which are sister ships, and then three Kongo-class battle cruisers in this game, or you could pretty much class them as battleships if you wanted to. And then we have a bunch of heavy cruisers, a lot of light cruisers, and then 35 destroyers. Overall, there's 49 ships in the first fleet. The second and third fleet have 26 and 32 ships respectively, and they will be our support fleets. Now, the difference between these fleets is mainly in their speed. First fleet has a speed of 28.2 knots. I believe it's in knots. Right, where's the speed? Yeah, knots, nautical knots. And that means it's fairly fast, almost 30, while the second fleet has a speed of 25.5 and the third fleet has 24.7. Now, the second fleet also has two carriers, but these are light carriers, Ryujo and Hosho, and it has two battleships. It has our actual biggest battleship, Nagato, which is the pride of the fleet. Unfortunately, it's fairly slow, only 25 knots, so I relegated it to the second fleet, together with 4 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers, and 15 destroyers. And the third fleet, being slightly slower, has no carriers, but 4 battleships, 2 Fusos, 2 Ises, and 6 heavy cruisers, which is quite a punch. It has 5 light cruisers and 17 destroyers. Now, some of these light cruisers, like the Kumas and Sendais, could be relegated to the first fleet, but at this point I want to have them split to have a wider range of operations. Each one of these fleets have a good admiral. The first one has Isoroku Yamamoto, who is giving it quite a lot of bonuses, as you can see here. He has a huge bonus to fleet coordination, naval hit chances increased by 22%. He even has some bonuses to screening, positioning, damage, and a naval air attack. Second fleet is led by Admiral Chuchi Nagumo, who is also pretty good. He gives a decent fleet coordination of 14%. He is also pretty good when it comes to naval air attacks, has some bonus to positioning, damage, defense, so not bad at all. And the third fleet is led by Admiral Minichi Koga, who again has a really good fleet coordination. Unfortunately, has a big mouse to naval AA attack. Not much I can do with that at this point, but decent damage, defense, positioning, bonuses, so he's pretty good. Now, we then have Midori no Sensu Kantai, which is, quite literally translated, green submarine fleet, and then we have blue submarine fleet. Now, I just went wild with these names. The green submarine fleet has ships that or submarines that have fairly limited range. So in this case, we are looking at 2,784, 2,750, and 1,500 kilometers respectively, while the blue submarine fleet has way higher ranges of 4,000, 5,250, 6,554, and 4,000 kilometers. So these will operate at a way wider range, while the green ones are probably going to be good for keeping our closer shipping, well, not our shipping lanes, but enemy shipping lanes that might run closer to our naval bases at check. And then we have 42 ships in the mine laying fleet. I haven't really decided what to do with these yet. Many of these will probably require heavy refits. There is a bunch of different ships here with wide variety of range and speed, but all of them should be fairly good at mine laying. Most of these destroyers could actually be relegated to one of the fleets if need comes to be. We'll see, we'll have to upgrade them and refit them as we see fit. And then we got 18 ships, mostly escorts. 12 of those are escorts, 4 torpedo boats, and 2 heavy cruisers in the reserve fleet, or in general our fleet reserves. And the biggest issue I have is these 2 cruisers, which are completely useless. They're of the Izumo class, very old ships with very light attack, light piercing, heavy attack. So we'll see if these ships even are good for something, if they could be refitted, or if we're gonna transfer all of these ships into some kind of 4th fleet that will be just kept very close to coast or relegated to some, submarine hunting, or we'll see. But these ships will require work, as will many of these. The main issue that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fleet actually face now, and that we'll need to address somehow, is the very short range. With the 1st fleet having a range of measly 2,238 kilometers, mostly because of their destroyers. So priority work is gonna have to be done on getting a better type of destroyer that can be quickly added to our fleets as screens, and get rid of the Momi class destroyers with the shortest range of them all, and dragging all of the fleet's range down. So that's what I did for now with the fleets. It seems like a preliminary work. There's going to be a lot of stuff we'll have to deal with as we're going to go, but a lot of ships are also in construction, so we'll see. There's no good destroyer available to us right now. The one that we're using is the one that we should be building right now is the Asashio class, which has a better range of 2,454 kilometers, but still leaves a lot to be desired. It uses medium-long range cruising range, and I think we would be best looking at something like very long cruising range, even for the destroyers. But it doesn't really... Oh, it's like 200 production cost difference. And this one would be 300, and it would give them another 1200 in range. So I should probably design 2 variants of the Asashio, or the next cruiser that we're gonna design. One for close fleet operations and patrol, and one that should be fitted into our battle groups. We'll see. Either way, at this point, we're gonna continue with the game. We're hopefully gonna guide the Zaibatsus. Trade is doing really good for us. At this point, we have almost 2 full construction lines, so hopefully we're gonna start seeing some progress and even building some of our military factories once we get the guide the Zaibatsus. We also want to get the prioritized steel for guns. That's gonna come next, because it's gonna give us 6 military factories in Hokkaido and 6 in Shikoku, which we're gonna put to good use on the production. I've been looking a bit at the differences on our infantry and what we could do with it. Again, I decided that we're definitely gonna play a lot with the artillery here. I'm considering 2 possibilities. One is like so, which would boost soft attack decently, defense would be boosted, and breakthrough would be boosted, but it would require 24 light and 24 medium artillery guns for each one of these units. The moment when we give it the heavy artillery, it turns to a pretty decent starting unit, and if we start giving them something like the Tanket recons, we would give it to the engineers, and probably... Well, we're not at this point producing the anti-tank, and I don't think it's necessary, but if we added that, look at that. Soft attack is already 70, defense 135. That would be pretty good. Breakthrough is 31, which isn't all that great, but it is what it is. But I think what we're gonna focus on early here is we're gonna try to get at least one of this motorized division up. So most of those factories are gonna go to turning up the production of I guess transport trucks. We also need a lot of horse transports. That's something that's gonna bite us in the rear soon. I mean, when we start with you, what are we missing? Yeah, a ton of transport trucks. Mountain artillery, so the pack guns, light vehicles, light artillery, recon equipment. Let me just see one more thing. If we turned all of these into motorized infantry, we would get... Okay, it would require extra 30 trucks per battalion. Wow. Okay, but it would give a lot of extra defense and breakthrough. So it definitely is worth doing this. I mean, it would be insane. Hold on. Amount of trucks that we would need. But look at that. Yeah, soft attack goes up by measly 3, but breakthrough goes by nearly 15. And if we added... Okay, we can't do it right now, but if we added the heavy artillery to these, yeah. The mobile army, the third combined, or third mobile army, as I named it, is going to be our priority for now. So let's just focus on that. Now let's unpause it, see what's going to happen. I have a feeling we might actually lose this border conflict. We'll see if the units retreat and we can send them back into the combat to hold it. I'm mostly happy because we're gaining just an insane amount of army experience here. It's going to be a bit of a sink to resources, but I still think we can do it. We'll see. Fuel-wise, we're doing good. Trade-wise, we have everything we want. Probably exporting a ton of things, so that really is good. Koki Hirota becomes Prime Minister. Okay. So we get a new Prime Minister who increases the base stability by 5%, but justify war goal by 20, and ideology drift defense is lowered. With the radical factions within the Japanese military discredited after the 26th of February incident, Hirota was selected to replace Okada as Prime Minister of Japan. So that 5% boost to stability is gonna go a long way for us, I think. I mean, it's the base, so... not necessarily gonna work that well, but... Okay, and you guys need to get back into that combat and push them out. Come on. If we can do that, then there is a big chance that we'll win this. But I have a feeling they might not defend for much longer. I'll try it. Still, we need more units here, that's for sure. Come on, get in there. Ah, no. Defeat in Hangyeong. So we gained 5 army experience and lost political power 15. Unfortunate. But okay, you know, the army experience is really good, and it's gonna tell us all we need, and that is that the units need to be over here. So you guys get in there and rest. What about this one? Wow, they're actually winning now. Okay, well, it's being done a lot. Nice, extra factory for us. Good. Yeah, that might be. Yeah, that's the stability. The consumer goods factories dropped to -3%, and we're actually, I think we lost the malus with the February incident, so now we're getting a bit more weak with stability, so that's really good for us. Okay, production is going. I was hoping that I could get the prioritizing steel for guns now, but we lost quite a lot of political power, so we'll have to wait a month. Australia rejects suggestions of returning German colonies. On March the 16th, 1936, March 18 of 1946, Australia rejected the possibility of the return of German colonies. The country's government issued a statement emphasizing the importance of its national security and territorial integrity, and stating that the return of territories under Australian mandate was unthinkable. The statement came in response to growing speculations that Germany might seek to reclaim some of its former colonies, which had been placed under Australian mandate by the League of Nations following World War I. The Australian government was clear in its position, stating that the inviolability and integrity of its territories were of paramount importance. The government argued that this policy was inextricably linked to its national security, and that any threats to its territorial integrity would be met with the utmost resolve. One particular area of concern was the strategic value of New Guinea, which had been placed under Australian mandate following World War I. The government noted that the geographical position of the island, as well as its natural harbours and facilities for naval and military aircraft. These factors, it argued, made New Guinea of crucial importance to Australia's defence and security. No kidding. Okay, any border conflict that we can start. Because we will benefit from getting as many of these running as possible, because the army experience is going to be good for us. And if we took any major... No, not really any hit to anything. How long till we upgrade? Oh yeah, I slowed it down. Okay, we still need to get out about 1,100 rifles. Okay, unfulfilled, import deals, but it's fixed now. Energy is doing good. Okay, we finished one of the factories and it immediately went into military production. Good. So that is fine. Okay, and I'll need to... Wait, Empire of Japan Task Force. That is wrong. You're also fleet reserves. And we finished the Type 38 75mm field gun and the electronic mechanical engineering. Good. So now comes the question. What are we going to do next? So we finished the electronic mechanical engineering. We live in an age where electrical machines can no longer only warm and light us, but help us think and communicate. Electronics will be the key to military intelligence in the coming century. Now I could get base stability and political power 50 here, and then daily political power gain, but that seems like a bit too much. Or we could go with the mechanical computing, that's 217 days. Or I could start with construction 1. How long till you finish? 57 days. What's gonna happen after 57 days? We'll get access to quality control in dispersed or concentrated industry. So it would probably make sense to go with construction 1 now to get a boost to that. Once you are done with the basic machine tools, you're going to start with quality control. We'll dedicate the research slot from construction to... I guess concentrated industry would make more sense. And once this one is done, you go to forest and lighting and to electric motor hoist, and then we're going to get these two, after which I can get concentrated industry 2 and the mechanical computing and electronic computing. Okay, that makes way more sense to me. So construction 1. Improved methods and materials allow us to construct buildings, both civilian and military, faster. And here we finished the light artillery, which, remember, is a pretty decent bonus on top of what we had before, which is this one. So defense 50%, soft attack get 2 extra points from 8.5 to 10.5, breakthrough from 2.5 to 3, and hard attack from 0.42 to 0.52. No difference in air attack. The abysmal reliability, though, is just terrifying. Okay, and I think we can now go with the Type 4 15cm howitzer, medium artillery capable of being broken down for transport, making it possible to bring artillery support to areas previously difficult to... That's probably to reach, not to teach. And we'll switch the production. Hey, now we have 2 factories working on counter. Good. So my plan... Wait. So my plan with the trade is seemingly working. So light artillery will now move to this artillery. We lost a bit of efficiency. 372 guns need an upgrade. That's just disconcerting. What kind of ships are we gonna get next? We're building the Congo class capital ship. It's gonna be ready when? On 24th of May. And I think Congo's speed is 29.9 knots, so you're definitely gonna go to the first fleet. Yeah, we already have 3 of you over there. So this is not a battleship, it's a battle cruiser. I always get that mixed because it's the capital ship. Soryu, Zuiho. Any ship that's gonna be... Okay, so we're finishing these improved cruisers. 21 knots, Jesus Christ. Okay, Otori class. That's a torpedo boat with 1750 kilometer range. Well, it's just not gonna cut it, will it? Austria introduces compulsory military service. On April 1st, 1946, Austria introduced compulsory military service with or without arms. The decision to implement conscription was driven by a number of factors, including economic concerns, a desire to preserve the country's sovereign rights, and a belief in the social value of military training. One of the main reasons cited for the introduction of conscription was the economic situation facing Austria at the time. Okay. Where were we? Oh, here. The country was struggling with high levels of unemployment and a sluggish economy, and the government saw military service as a way to provide employment and training for young people. Another factor was a desire to preserve Austria's sovereign rights in the face of potential threats from other countries in Europe. The government argued that conscription was necessary to ensure the country's security and independence. The failure of other signatories to the peace treaty of Saint-Germain to disarm was also cited as a reason for the introduction of conscription. The government believed that it was necessary for Austria to have a strong military in order to deter potential aggressor and maintain stability in the region. Finally, the government emphasized the social value of military training, arguing that it provided important physical, moral, and patriotic education for young people. The introduction of compulsory military service was seen as a way to promote these values and strengthen the social fabric of the country. The decision to introduce conscription was controversial and was met with opposition from some quarters. However, the government was clear in its belief that it was necessary for the country's security and prosperity, and the introduction of compulsory military service would go on to have a significant impact on Austria's history in the years that followed. And trade mission. Okay, we got a bit of relations, but that's really not that important for us. Okay, so construction is continuing. Guiding the Zaibatsus is also continuing. 7 days left on that one. And Ecuador supports Italy. The decision was made following a meeting of the Ecuadorian cabinet, during which it was argued that the sanctions had failed to achieve the intended goal of bringing Italy to the negotiating table. Instead, it was suggested that the sanctions had only hurt Ecuador's own economy by cutting off important trade relations with Italy. The decision to lift the sanctions was met with criticism from some quarters, particularly those who opposed Italy's aggressive action in Ethiopia. However, the Ecuadorian government argued that it was acting in the best interest of the country by seeking to maintain positive relations with Italy. The lifting of the sanctions was seen as a significant victory for Italy, which had faced increasing isolation and condemnation from the international community in the wake of its invasion of Ethiopia. However, it also marked a turning point in the attitude of smaller countries towards Italy's aggressive actions and demonstrated the willingness of some nations to support Italy in its expansion. Resistance to occupation. That's not great. Well, that's not that harsh, though 5 and 6%. And the... Okay, well, the compliance is slowly increasing. We have the local police force everywhere, trying to minimize the amount of units that we have to have there. So far it's working. We're getting some resources from Korea, everything from Japan, about 50%, 150, quite a lot of food. League of Nations condemns Austrian militarism. In 1936, the Little Entente, consisting of Czechoslovakia, Romania and Yugoslavia, protested against Austria's introduction of compulsory conscription, with or without arms, on April 1st. The Little Entente argued that this was a violation of the Treaty of Saint-Germain, which had laid down military regulations for Austria in Part 5 of the treaty. Austria's alteration of this part of the treaty by a unilateral denunciation was seen as a manifest infringement of the military clauses of the treaty. The Little Entente deeply regretted Austria's decision to take this course, which represented a negation of international obligations. They pointed out that Austria was a member of the League of Nations and had, in fact, been condemned by the Council of League of Nations for taking a similar course of action in the past. The Little Entente could not admit that Austria should be allowed the Little Entente could not admit that Austria should be allowed to take the law into its own hands by this unilateral step, which was a clear violation of international obligations. They called on Austria to reverse its decision and abide by the Treaty of Saint-Germain. Austria rejected the protest, arguing that they had drafted the new bill deliberately and with the knowledge that they had fulfilled their obligation to provide the necessities of life to the Austrian people and to safeguard the existence of the Austrian state. Ominous foreshadowing. They argued that the introduction of compulsory conscription was necessary for the economy, the preservation of sovereign rights, and the maintenance of the existing European order. World tensions slightly increased, and we finished the research of Kawasaki Ki-10 Kai. So let's see what we can go with next. I might want to go directly into the Ki-27 Light Fighter. Yeah, I might exactly want to do that because there's nothing else available anyway. So Nakajima Ki-27. It is a light fighter aircraft. How much better than the one that we're producing right now is it? Wow, the range is significantly higher. 1045 kilometers compared to 700. Where does the current one stand? 755, so slight improvement. Air attack is 15 in all cases. Air superiority for this one is higher though. Air defense is actually lower for the Nakajima Ki-27. Agility is significantly improved though. 59 to 61.5 to 69.5. And as well as speed, 402, 420 and 470. Okay, so we'll research that, and in the meantime we'll put you into production because we want you to on the 14th of April. Okay, let me just keep that out here because I would prefer to have it available. Okay, 14th of April. Let's speed it up a bit. Now what are we doing on... Yeah, we're gonna be done soon. Okay, I'm on the 14th of April. Are we missing? No, just a little bit of bauxite. We can lower that and start importing more from Yugoslavia to have it a bit more secure. Okay, so we finished guiding the Zaibatsus, which hurt us. Dang it. It's the boost to the consumer goods factories. So the 5 weren't enough to offset it. Well, what can we do? Not much that can be done here. 4 is such a big difference here. Okay, so we finished the next aircraft. Now we can go with you. Not much of a difference in the production efficiency. We're gonna have to upgrade 500 of you. So, because we finished guiding the Zaibatsus, we can now expand the Zaibatsus, which is going to give us a boost to research, factory output, and dockyard output for the next 900 days, so about 2.5 years. We're going to get 2 military factories in Shikoku and 1 naval dockyard in Chugoku. And it opens up the way to expand the Mitsui Zaibatsu, which is going to give us 4 military factories, 2 civilian, and 2 tank assembly plants. The Zaibatsu are large industrial conglomerates which can sometimes trace their origins several hundred years back. There are 4 big Zaibatsu. They are the oldest and most powerful companies in Japan. They happen to have deep ties to various factions in the military and are the heart of our industrial activities and growth. We should do what we can to encourage them to grow. And we get a bonus of research to industry. It's actually pretty good. Didn't even realize that. Okay, on that note, I'm going to end the episode here. We're doing pretty good. Still don't know if we can start some stuff with... No, we cannot start any border conflict, but we'll soon be able to prioritize steel for guns. So we're gonna start the next episode by actually looking at what kind of things we have in the stockpile and what would be the good upgrades to our units, and thus what we need to get exactly that. So till then, you guys take care.